What's up, everybody? It's your boy Quan. This video that I'm making right now is for those of you who like to know a little bit more about the league that you join. Especially if you're in Yahoo, this is going to be a big help to you when you want to make decisions as far as who you're going to start, who you're going to bench, maybe who you might try to see is available in your league that you can possibly pick up. Even on a week to week basis, because once the bye weeks start up, everybody starts realizing that when they had their draft, oh my gosh, I've got four people that are out on the same bye week. So I need somebody to play so I can get points. You know what I mean? If you get to the point to whereas in your league that you realize that, okay, when I drafted I probably should have did something a little bit different, then this is where this is going to pay off for you, basically. Okay, so basically we're going to start off in this league that I'm in, and I'm going to go to my roster. Alright, in my previous video I went over the whole process of switching out your players that are on your roster. So that basically shows you how to move players from your starting lineup to your bench. Okay, in this league, as far as let's say my running backs, I've got Toby Gerhart and Reggie Bush in my starting lineup, but I have Zach Stacy on the bench, and I also have Fred Jackson on the bench. So I know some of you probably saying Toby Gerhart, but check this out. He's the starting running back, okay, for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Zach Stacy is still not sure if he's going to get all the touches, even though he came through monster for me. You know what I mean? And, when you're in a situation like this, when you're not really sure what to do, this video is going to give you a little insight on the different things you can look at to kind of see what decision you need to make, okay? So you can stay right here in your roster and look around and get information about the people that are on your team. Okay, you already see your projected fantasy points. You can click here on your projected stats and get information about what's going on in week 1. You can also see some information for weeks 2 to 5, remaining games in the season total. Okay, they have a link here called Game Day Decision. If you look in the line underneath it, you can see that the links changed up. You see overall, fantasy matchups, and game day calls. Okay, say I went to overall. It's going to give me an overall look at the people on my team. Okay, you're going to see that Matt Stafford is projected to get 25.06 points. He's ranked 15th amongst quarterbacks. Out of all the people that own him in Yahoo Fantasy Football, 92% are starting him. Okay, they're going against, right here, the New York Giants, Monday night at 7:10 p.m. So now the New York Giants, right here you get information about the New York Giants. Okay, opponent points against the rank. Okay, so the Giants are ranked 23rd for quarterbacks, which is not good. They're not saying they're the 23rd best defense. You know what I mean? So basically what that means, since it's in red, you saw the little pop-up. The Giants give up the 10th fewest fantasy points to the QB position. Okay? Now, what I could do is come down here, look and see at my backup quarterback, which is Andy Dalton. They're playing Baltimore Ravens at Baltimore, mind you. And they're only ranked 15th. Okay, it says Baltimore gives up the 15th most fantasy points to the QB position, but for some reason he only has 2 stars. Matthew Stafford has 4, and that's under the matchup column. Okay, if I want to get a little bit more information on that, I'm going to click right here on fantasy matchups. I'm going to see the stars, and I'm going to get the little comment right here. Okay, so for Matthew Stafford, it says Giants secondary has been upgraded in free agency and could be good, but their pass rush is still shaky, and Stafford should be fine at home. Okay? So that makes me feel a little bit better. Now, to get information on Andy Dalton, it tells me that he played terribly against them last year and completed only 51% of his passes with 7 interceptions, so not someone to seriously consider. Okay, I'm not going to start Andy Dalton. I'm going to leave Matthew Stafford right where he is. Okay? Cool. Now, you got other links in here like game day calls, and basically it's giving you the same type of information. Like, say you want to look and see, okay, I'm not sure if I should start him. How many people in Yahoo are starting him? You know, that maybe that will make you feel more confident in starting him. You know what I mean? So you get all that information and where they're ranked, you know, as far as fantasy is concerned. You also got links for like split stats, which is kind of crazy. I guess you could see how your people play on grass, on turf, outdoors, indoors, home, away games, you know, how they do. But of course, you're not going to see much right now because the season hasn't started. The only thing that's there is week 1. I'm trying to see if maybe there's a way I can pull up 2013 stats. Okay, right here for roster, they have the 2012 to 13 last season stats. Okay, this gives information on that. Now let's go back to split stats. And will it pull up anything? Okay, it's still not going to pull up anything. Okay, that's basically based upon the current season. Now, on your ranks link, it gives you projected rankings and actual rankings. Okay, and what it's going to do is keep calculating it every week. So keep an eye on that. The opponents link lets you know each week who your people are facing. This is week 1, so as you can see, it's like gray. You can see Demaryius Thomas on my team. He's facing Indianapolis. Okay, it just breaks down who they're facing, nothing else. If you see the @ sign in front of the team, that means that's going to be an away game for your player. So Matthew Stafford, week 2 is playing at Carolina. They're playing in North Carolina, not in Detroit. Let's see this research link. Kind of back to what we were talking about with the rankings, with the different opponents that they're facing. So Cordarrelle Patterson, he's facing St. Louis. Okay, they're 21st against wide receivers, which is not that great. Okay, St. Louis gives up the 12th fewest fantasy points to wide receiver position. Another key, like if you're saying the 20, these numbers are confusing, I don't know what to think, look at the colors. Green means go, red means stop. You know what I mean? If that helps you and makes it more simpler for you to understand. It's yellow, he still has a chance on doing well against this team. You know what I mean? If it's green, there's a good chance that they will do well. If it's red, there's a chance they might not do well. Okay? That breaks it down to its most simplest form for you. Okay? Now, another couple things that you can do to kind of find out what's going on with your players is to go here to research. Once you go to the research area, after we get like a week or 2 in the books, you'll start seeing things like this transaction trend. Okay, it's going to start showing you who's being picked up, who's being dropped in Yahoo, you know what I mean, and in your league and stuff like that, so you'll know maybe moves you need to make in your league. Okay, now after week 1, you're going to see MVP information. Okay, what's the quarterback that got the most fantasy points? They're going to be the MVP, and they'll show them here. Okay, now with these matchup ratings, you see how it shows the available people. Okay, you got 4 stars next to a kicker that is on no one's team, and you can tell they're on no one's team because 1, it's on the available link, and you see the plus sign here. Whenever you see a plus sign, that's a player that you can add, you know, to your roster. You got who's hot. Of course, Marshawn Lynch, he had a monster game. 110 yards, 2 touchdowns against Green Bay. Got 26.4 points in this league. Crazy. Okay, now, let's see. You got all these links that take you to the specific page of these little sections that you see, like your transaction trends MVPs, matchup ratings. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised that I'm not seeing anything under transaction trends because I've been noticing that, like I was going to say, Josh Gordon's been picked up by a lot of people because there are talks that the NFL Players Association is going to change the rules on the drugs and stuff like that. You know why they were suspended, like him and Wes Welker. So if that comes into play and they change the rules and they sign this contract that they come with, this new contract, it's possible that Josh Gordon can possibly come and play this year. Okay, so as you see, a lot of people are picking him up to stash him in case he becomes available, and then they can play him. Okay, one of my favorite areas to go to is this matchup ratings. You can actually take a look at your team, and just like we saw before with the stars, 5 stars is like an unbelievably great rating. You know what I mean? And you get to see, comments as to why they have 5 stars. The comments usually give you some insight on who they're playing, and if their defense sucks or whatever, it lets you know. Okay, you get to click right here on my players, and it'll show you everybody on your squad, and it's people on your squad because right here, under this column right here, you see a lot of minus signs. Minus signs, if you ever click that minus sign, you see that pop up? It says drop player, okay? If you want to look at a free agent, you can click right here, and then that'll put them on your watch list. You can keep an eye on them, okay? But like I said, these are my players, okay? And this can give you even a little insight on who maybe should be starting, My kicker is for Dallas, and they're going against San Fran. They should be trying to score a lot of points. He'll probably be kicking a lot. My wide receivers, I got 2 wide receivers with 5 stars, which is great. Brandon Marshall, Demaryius Thomas, So, of course, I'm going to try to start them. Reggie Bush, all of my people, a lot of my people have a lot of stars, okay? And some of the people that I'm not starting are, have lesser stars. Now, Toby Gerhart, he was in my lineup. Okay, so let me see what's going on with him. Philly's defense front looks pretty active and decent against the run, but we know he will get plenty of touches, and I know that as well because he's the starting running back. So I got faith in him because even when Adrian Peterson went down in Minnesota and he came and filled in for him, Toby Gerhart went off. So he's not going anywhere until he proves me otherwise. Now, with these matchup ratings, you can look at your opponent's team for week 1, see what kind of competition you're going against. Okay, my opponent has Roddy White, Peyton Manning, of course they have 5 stars, Russell Wilson, Arian Foster, blah blah blah. But it gives you insight onto as to who you're facing this week. Okay, now one thing that you can do, check out the free agents. Check out all the free agents and see who has like the most stars. Okay, we got a lot of kickers with 4 stars, but I don't want to see kickers. Say you want to look at running backs. Come right here, click on RB. It'll show you all the running backs available. The most stars I'm seeing are 3 stars, which isn't that great. Except if you notice that one of those persons is maybe like a starter, like Mark Ingram. I think he's like number 1 on the depth chart for the Saints. It says Falcon defense looks to be one of the worst 10 in the league, and he looks legit in terms of getting double-digit carries. You might want to take a chance. As you can see, I did put a star. You see how the star is filled in? He's on my watch list, okay, of players for me to keep an eye on. So what I'm going to do is, just so you can see my watch list for this league, go here to my team, see watch list. I'm going to try to pull it up. I'm going to pull it up in a new link, a new tab over here to the right. And I'm going to switch to it. So now you can see everybody who I have on my watch list for right now. Mark Ingram, of course. Jeremy Hill, backup running back in Cincinnati. Carlos Hyde, backup running back for San Francisco, which it looks like, see how it says owner right here? Somebody in my league already picked him up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click this star next to his name. Now it's not filled in. I'm taking him off my watch list, so he won't show up next time. Okay. And I got a couple other people. We talked about Josh Gordon. He might come back, so I got him on my watch list. Nobody's picked him up yet. And one thing that you can do, which is real cool, these little squares, these are like notebook pieces of paper, kind of like. So if you click on them, you get information. So with this one with Josh Gordon, I'm going to click on him because I want to show you something. When this little window pops up, you get info on who they meet every week. Okay, their forecasted fantasy points. He's 0, of course, because everybody is under the impression he's not going to play at all this year. You get information about the opponents that they face. Okay, week 1, Cleveland is facing Pittsburgh, and it gives you info. Pittsburgh gave up the 14th fewest fantasy points to wide receivers last season. Okay, so that would normally make you think, okay, I don't need to start him. Okay. Also underneath you get more information about, well, this is just talking about Josh Gordon, the new drug policy that I was talking about, blah, blah, blah. But one thing I want you to pay attention to, this is the player info, right? Right next to it, there's a link called League Availability. If I click on that, if you're in more than one Yahoo League, this gives you insight as to Josh Gordon and his availability throughout all of your leagues, okay? I'm presently looking in my End Zone Bound League, but also in my Avios Finest and Talkstar Finest, Josh Gordon is available. So what I did was click on these stars. I put them on my watch list in all of those leagues. This gives you the ability to do that, which is très cool. Bam. Okay, now, outside of, the matchup ratings, which I'm going to close this tab so we can go back to the matchup ratings. Outside of the matchup ratings, one thing you can look at is the fantasy points against. This can get a little tricky when you're looking at it, but like say you want to look at your, I'm going to look at the information for last year, then maybe we'll get some stats popping up on the screen, okay? Now, as far as the quarterback position is concerned, it's saying that ranked number 1, the Minnesota Vikings, they gave up the most fantasy points to quarterbacks, an average of 25.83. You can use this, like in case you have a quarterback going against a certain defense, come here to this page and find the defense and find out where they're ranked and how many points they give up to the quarterback. It'll give you a pretty decent idea of how well your quarterback will do. And as you can see, the rankings, the ones are the easier, defenses. Then you have yellow. Then it even goes down to red. Now, next thing I want to get into is this players area. Once you go to this page, it's almost like a database of the players in the fantasy football league. You can, as a default, it just shows you all the available players, okay? So these are all the players that nobody has drafted and they're sitting out there just waiting for you to pick them up. If you ever see a player with this next to it, instead of under the owner column, instead of FA for a free agent, you see this W, September 7th. That means that player's on waiver wires, okay? Now, usually the default for waiver wires is 2 days, which means if I have somebody on my team and I drop him to pick up somebody else, the player I drop goes on waivers, okay? Which means that they'll stay in limbo for 2 days. Nobody can pick them up, okay? Now, what happens in 2 days, because see how it says September 7th? That means on the 5th, which was Friday, somebody dropped Lamar Miller from the Miami Dolphins. So come the 7th, which is Sunday, he will become available again. So if somebody wants to pick him up right before the game, I don't know if it's time sensitive or whatever, but it says September 7th. So I'm thinking if somebody wants to pick him up before that New England-Miami game, they can. He is the starting running back. So, that is an option. Now, when you're at this screen, you can really do anything that you want to do, man. It's crazy. Now, if I want to look at the running backs, and I know it's week 1, I want to see if there's anybody out there with the chance of doing well. I go to the week 1 projections for running backs and all available players. Click on the filter, and it's going to tell me. It automatically defaults to sorts it by their projected ranking as far as like when it going back to like the draft, right? How your players are ranked. But what I like to do is click on the fantasy points. Okay, now it's telling me that these two cats right here are projected to get these many fantasy points. I don't know if Kansas City, they're doing a RBBC, running back by committee type of play. But hey, these can give you a little insights as to maybe someone you might want to pick up and put on your team, because you can compare these to your team. Click right here on show my team. Watch, I click the filter and you see all the people from my team. See these little gray lines right here? These are all the people on my team. You see Bernard Pierce is kind of ranked higher than somebody on my team. Check this out. If I wanted to pick up Bernard Pierce, click right here on this plus sign. It's going to take me to another screen. Add a free agent. Bernard Pierce. Ooh, the interface is even different. Okay, so gives you little information about him. See the transaction trends. A lot of people have been adding them, over 4,000 people, and just under 1,500 people have been dropping him. Okay, he's going, since he's the starter of the the Ravens for like 4 weeks until Ray Rice gets off his suspension. So right here you see I'm trying to add Bernard Pierce, but in order to add him, since I have a full roster, I have to pick somebody to drop. So what I would do is, say I come down here and I say, okay, Brandon Cooks, I'm going to drop you. And you see the little pop-up, click to drop this player. I should go to a confirmation screen after this. So I click on him, and it shows you both players in front of you. Bernard Pierce, that's who I'm going to add. Brandon Cooks, that's who I'm going to drop. And it even shows you underneath both players. This is where you confirm. I want to add Bernard Pierce and drop Brandon Cooks. You click on that button and the magic happens. You drop one, and then all of a sudden, once you go back to your roster, you'll see Brandon Pierce on your bench. Okay? And then at that time, you can go and swap him and put him into your starting lineup if that's what you want to do. Okay? Cool. But me, I'm going to click cancel because that's not what I want to do. Okay? Now, with this players list, you can do a lot of things. Like, say, I want to do some research on somebody. Let's say wide receiver. I want to look at the 2013 season. Okay? All the wide receivers that are available. In this particular league that I'm in, the owner, or the commissioner, I should say, he had the bright idea to give bonus points if someone got a touchdown on a pass that was more than 40 yards. Same thing with running backs. If they if they got a touchdown on a run that was more than 40 yards, you got bonus points. I think it's an extra 5 points that you get. So that means that I want to see how many running backs last year did something like that. So let's say, or wide receivers. So I'm going to go wide receiver position, under receiving. You see you have targets, how many receptions, yards, touchdowns, and 40-yard touchdowns. I'm going to click on that and see if I have, look, Josh Gordon, he had 5 of them. Kenny Stills had 4 of them. But look, if you pay attention right here, these O's that are next to their names, that means that they're out. They're not even playing. So you don't want to target them. But you got Goodwin right here for Buffalo, Greg Jennings in Minnesota, Tyquan Underwood at Carolina. I think wasn't he with Tampa Bay last year? But anyway, you get to see all the players that make these kind of plays who could possibly give you bonus points. You know what I'm saying? So these are people you want to target. Now, you also do this. You can do the same thing for rushing as well. I don't know if any wide receivers would show up. Couple did. Tavon Austin in St. Louis and Jernigan for New York. And you know why they showed up? Because these are those wide receivers that do little trick plays with their team where they get handed off the ball. You know what I'm saying? So, but normally this would happen with a running back. Click the filter. Boom. Bobby Rainey for Tampa Bay. He had 2 touchdowns for more than 40 yards. So that means that on top of the 6 points, you would get another 5 points for that one play. So that means 11 points, which would basically cover what I consider his quota. You know, if a running back gets 10 points, I'm happy. You know, you've done your job. You get more, that's just icing on the cake. So you figure on one play, somebody can get, you know, enough points to give you the win. Just one play. Very, very cool. So, I'm going to kind of end it right here. I know I'm getting kind of winded, kind of long. I've been showing you a whole lot of what you can do. But what this whole thing boils down to with fantasy football, once you get into a league, you get settled and you get kind of comfortable with all the things that I've talked to you about as far as setting up your lineup, looking out there to see who's available, who could possibly help you. You know, get into your league and click on everything and see what you can see. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of projections on how they'll do. There's all kinds of information on how they did last year. And as the season progresses, you get to see how they've been doing this season, how well they've been doing. You know, that'll be indication as to, okay, this guy's not doing well at all, I'm going to drop him. Let me see who I can replace him with. Do your ads, do your drops. Check the transaction trends. See what's trending in your league. Let's see what's going on. Who is picking up a lot of people? Who's the top transaction trender right now? Because that might be something I want to do. If so many people are doing it, it's probably a smart move. So I hope you take this information and use it, and hopefully it'll help you do well in your league. And if you come away with a championship, please let me know. So hope you like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm about to get up out of here. Good luck 2014 fantasy football. It's your boy Quan, and I am out of here. Peace.